Dark Phoenix, where do I begin? When I heard that this film had a lot of production issues and that there was many script issues, being the fact that Sophie Turner recently spoke out saying that the script had been rewritten almost every day on set, and the fact that this film had been pushed back multiple release dates were just clear signs that this film wasn't ready. Dark Phoenix starts off with the X-Men team going off into space to save a couple of astronauts, and on that mission, Jean Grey takes in this cosmic flare that unleashes her Phoenix Force abilities. But she can't contain these abilities, so she runs away from the team, and now you have good guys, bad guys, and this group led by Jessica Chastain's character looking for Jean Grey to contain that power. The biggest issue I had with this film is the writing. The writing, for some reason, brings up a lot of inconsistencies. This film decided to take the story arc of the comics of how Jean Grey got her powers. It ignored the fact that she had unlocked her powers in X-Men Apocalypse already. The writing created bad dialogue and actions for many of these characters, and it felt like they forgot, again, like they forgot what happened in the past films, or they just negated to recall what happened in the past films. For example, Mystique calls out Professor X for not risking his life enough for the team, or just she doesn't ever recall that he risked his life for the team. Which is weird because, again, if you've seen X-Men Apocalypse, you know for a fact that Professor X did risk his life and almost died trying to save the team while fighting Apocalypse within his own mind. The dialogue and actions in this film just feel so unnecessary. It feels like it doesn't really progress the story any further. A lot of the time, many of these X-Men characters are pretty much arguing with each other. This is an X-Men movie, but it doesn't ever really truly feel overall like an X-Men film, like it should belong in the series. It feels like there are X-Men present, but they're not really doing anything interesting. Okay, so this film also rehashes Magneto's story arc, where he tries to live like a solemn life, and then all of a sudden he turns evil again. This is like the only story arc that we've seen from Magneto from these recent films. And it's been done. It's been done, it's been completed, but yet we still see it over and over again. Two positives about this film were possibly, in my opinion, the final fight scene that took place on a train. I know many people may find it odd, but that fight scene just felt more interesting and it felt more urgent and fast-paced than the rest of the film did. It felt like an X-Men movie to me, just a little bit. And it was enough to at least intrigue me to actually say, okay, things are picking up. But then, once the fight scene is over, the film pretty much ends. Like, maybe 10 minutes later, it just ends. And it's just like, well, okay, that was that. The second positive about this film was the acting from Sophie Turner, who plays Jean Grey, and Michael Fassbender, who plays Magneto. Those two were the only ones I felt like pretty much gave it their all, or tried to give it their all, in this final performance as these characters in the X-Men series. And I enjoyed it. But everything else in this movie just felt so washed. It felt so bogged down by, unnecessary actions, unnecessary dialogue. In the end, I would have to give this film a D+. But I mean, if you've been a part, of the X-Men series, you've been watching the X-Men series, and you're still interested in seeing it, I would say you might want to wait for it to be on rental. But if you have seen it, leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought about it. And if you haven't, now you know whether or not you want to see it. So I'll catch you guys on the next review.